So it's been a bit of a strange weekend, to be honest. Still, I think I'm on my second week, and it still feels a bit strange what I'm doing. And one of the things that I keep in mind is the process, the story, and that this is the beginning. This is just the beginning. And I know in the future I'm going to look back, I'm going to think, you know what I mean, oh, look at him, look at the kid, he's trying something, and in the future it could look completely different to what I'm doing now. And you almost just can't get worried about everything right now, because it's not even what it is. It's not even what it is. When I look back at some things in my life, and I think what I've been worried about, and you look at the end result, and you think, you didn't need to worry. When I look at me growing up, I always wanted to have a girlfriend that I absolutely love. I've always wanted to feel loved. I always wanted to love someone in a relationship like that. And I look at all the past years of worrying and feeling sad and lonely and feeling, judging yourself, thinking you're not good enough, thinking you have to be a certain way, thinking life's against you, thinking why me. And I look back now and I look back now, I don't know, I look back and I look at now, Jesus, English, and I think it was necessary. All that worrying, all that debating about who you are and what's happening to you and life, and it's all necessary for this story. It's all necessary for me to appreciate what I've got. It's all necessary for me to see the value in the partner that I have, and that's why I love her so much. But was one of the reasons why I love her so much is because I've been through that. I've almost felt that little bit of a pain growing up, like probably most of us have, and I can remember it, and I'm using that pain to fuel my love, because I can look at it and I can see the value I have now, and I can see what I have now, and it's something that I've always wanted, and it fits the dream perfectly. In fact, it smashes the dream, and I could never expected of what I have and who I'm with. And that's what I've got to do with this. That's what I've got to have the perspective of this, and it's hard in the moment, because also you probably shouldn't have that perspective. You do have to suffer in terms of, I do have to worry and get anxious, and the thing is, I can't control that. I can't control how I naturally feel, I don't think. I mean, I can, but it takes a lot of work, and when I see that I don't have to, I don't have to not worry about this whole beginning process. And oh my God, I'm posting, and oh my God, people are listening to my thoughts, and oh my God, I'm being so honest and open. And this is it. This is the beginning of what I've wanted to do for such a long time. It's all so many emotions at this moment in time, and you've got to carry on living life. And I also have this understanding that it doesn't actually mean that much now, in a sense that it's probably not the biggest hurdle. It's not the biggest amount of emotions I'm going to feel with this. It's not going to be... The only impact it's going to have is for me looking at the storyline from beginning to end, or middle to end, or whatever stage I'm in when I look back. When I look back of how far I've come, when I look back of what I've done and who I'm becoming, and that's why I love doing this, because I can see the change. And it's just little things like, because it's constantly on my mind, because I'm constantly doing stuff, because at the moment I'm trying to catch up to this present time, so I'm only about a week behind. Right now I'm still probably a month behind on the videos I'm posting. That's why it's every day. But because it's every day, it's constantly on my mind. And I don't know what I'm talking about in some of the videos that I'm posting, because they were a month ago. And I don't want to watch myself back. It's not natural to watch yourself every day. That's going to have an effect on your mind. So I don't want to do that. So that's not what I've been doing. But it's still on my mind. So these are the things that are going on in my head. I can't help but look at numbers, even though now, I think I said a couple of videos ago maybe, that I knew this would happen within a month, 2 weeks to a month. I'd start forgetting about the numbers, and that's how I want to be. And what I've started doing now is I'm seeing the numbers. I'm getting disappointed a little bit, but it's fading. It's starting to fade. But when you've got to check every day, because you can't help but seeing when you're uploading the next video, when you're editing stuff, when you're posting stuff and filling stuff out, and you're trying to do some things, it's always on your mind. It's always on my mind, and that's not how I want it to be. And because that's the new thing for me. It's all these new things that I have to do. It's always on my mind, so I'm always thinking about it. And I'm grateful that I've got people in my life, and I do things in life that do distract me from that. And one of the things I was thinking about earlier today, I think, or yesterday, was I know I'm not at the stage now where I can just fully accept all the emotions I'm going through, because if I did that, it'd be a lot harder. If I gave in to being nervous, if I gave in to caring about things that I know long term I don't want to care about, and I'm not gonna care about. And the thing that I was thinking about was, one day I'm gonna be able to not just walk through this almost with my eyes closed, trying to ignore certain emotions. And that's the only negative I see with what I'm doing at the moment, is I am just walking through it with my eyes closed, trying to ignore so many emotions because they're going to be too intense, and I just want to get through it. Whereas trying to practice what I preach, it's sort of accepting these strong emotions that I'm going through and truly feeling them. Because with the negative, when the negative is high, the positive is high. That's how my mindset works. That if I'm almost suffering quite a bit, or if I'm feeling the low emotions, the negative emotions a lot, I'm going to feel such a reward when I get past it. Whereas now, if I'm walking through it with my eyes closed, I don't want to feel too strongly about this side. I'm not going to feel too strongly after it. It's going to become normal. And at some point, I'm probably not going to feel as much joy with it all if it does become successful, or if people do enjoy watching it. If people do, that's what the views, seeing numbers doesn't mean anything to me. They are just numbers. But I think what I will get some joy out of, if I think about it, is when people say, oh, that was a good video. Or if people say, I liked that point. Or if people just got something from the video, that would be a success to me. But I don't want to rely on that. That's the other thing, because it is kind of fickle. Because I know I'm fickle like that. and a lot of people are fickle, is when you see people agree with your opinion, or you see something that helps your situation, sometimes you can attach yourself to that idea and to that person, and everything they say becomes right. Whereas that's not true. It was just that idea that you liked at first and helped you at first, you got on board with. And it happens the other way as well. And we all do this. It's when someone says something against your opinion, you're then against that person, which it shouldn't be like that. It should just be that you're against that opinion. So us as humans, we're fickle in that sense, because we switch and change what we like so much that I know I can't rely on people saying they enjoyed the videos and didn't enjoy the videos, because at the end of the day, it is just what I'm talking about that matters to me. And that's what's been difficult, because I've almost got to I've got to see the figures, and I can't help but look at the figures, and I'm a sort of person that I'm competitive, and I want to be the best, and I want to do the best I can. And in terms of that, at the moment, for these first 2 weeks, I've got that feeling of I want those numbers as high as I can. Now, like I've said in the other video, 2 more weeks of that, and I know it's going to change, and I know I'm not going to care about that. But it's just this last week, it's been constantly on my mind. It has faded from the week before, but it's interesting what's happening to me mentally. And it's interesting to see that, it's interesting to see what you're made of when things change. And I was also thinking about today that, you know, most of us don't know who we truly are until something awful happens to them. And nothing awful, nothing absolutely terrible has happened to me yet in my life, that sometimes you can't help but think, who are you? You know, do you truly, sometimes when I'm thinking about what I'm saying, and this is why I don't want to watch back what I'm saying, I don't want to watch it too much, because you start going, do you truly believe that? Could you stand on a stage and preach to 1,000 people and say that that's your definitive opinion? And I was thinking, with a lot of these things, like I said, I can't remember what I've said a month ago. Is it my true opinion? Is it truly what I think and believe? And it's not. It's not always. It's just me thinking through different ideas. That's why I don't remember it. Not to say it's wrong, not to say it's right, but it's why I don't remember. And it's why I'm now starting to think it doesn't actually matter if I can't stand there and preach it to 1,000 people and say this is right, because I'm kind of thinking it doesn't even matter about my thought. It's the next thought that gets sparked that matters. And then that doesn't matter, because then it's the next one after that, because that's what progress is. That's what advancing is. That's what getting to the right answer is all about. It's different stages of being wrong until you're right at the end. And everyone feels like they're right until they're wrong. Until something comes along and breaks that and says, yeah, you're wrong. So I've kind of got that in mind. That's where my mindset is going, that it doesn't actually matter. You're not the important one. And also, don't be so egotistical to think that everyone's even watching you. When I'm thinking about these judgments and criticisms myself, when I see things about what I'm saying, don't be so egotistical and say someone's actually watching, because no one's watching. So there's nothing to worry about. There's no point worrying about that part of it, because no one's watching yet. Maybe 5 years down the line, when maybe you're getting a couple more hundred people watching, you can start or a couple of thousand, hopefully, people watching and enjoying it or whatever, once you get to that stage, you can start worrying about criticism and how to deal with that. Because at the moment, like we said at the start, we're at the beginning of the journey. We're at the beginning of it all. And none of these opinions of all this, personally, that's happening in my head, are going to stick. That's why in the other video I've said, when you know yourself, you don't have to worry so much. Because you know that in 5 years' time, not even 5 years, a year's time, you're going to look back and laugh. You're going to look back and laugh at yourself and say, what were you getting nervous about? It was just something new. You were just new to it all. That's all it was. It was just new to you opening up, you being vulnerable, you being open to criticism. And it's a different form of criticism, because people will judge you behind your back, and people will judge what you're saying. And the issue that can happen is you attach your ideas too much to yourself. So when people criticize your ideas, you feel like they're criticizing you. But if you look at it all and you look at it and you say, they're criticizing the idea. They might think they're criticizing you, but we're all fickle, and they're just criticizing the idea, not you. That they're all thoughts further down the line that might happen. But right now, it's just because it's brand new to me. It's uncomfortable, all this, and getting into a routine and posting and stuff like that. And of course it's always going to be on my mind, because there's a little bit of a pressure to uphold a standard to myself of what I want. My standard is I want to be a week behind. So I've got to now do things to get myself in a position where I am only a week behind. Doesn't matter how many times I post realistically, but as long as I prefer to be closer to an opinion I said last week, posting it, than a month away, But yeah, that's just my week. That's just what's been on the weekend on my mind and stuff. And it's not constant. It's not taking over my life. It's just moments of rest and moments of downtime. You get to think a bit more. You get to think about what's going on. And if you don't distract yourself, those thoughts for me can get out of control sometimes. What's the word? Gladly, they haven't yet. And I don't think they will, because I understand it. Like I just said, it's a new situation for me, and it's something big. It was a big hurdle to get over, to finally post. So you kind of do have a bit of a right to adjust for a month and hear little criticisms here and there, and adjust and say, it's only humour. What does it all really matter? We're all just living for a laugh. At the end of the day, we all look back on some memories and we laugh on how we were, and we're going to laugh on how we will be and how we are now. And that's okay. As long as you can laugh with the people, it hurts a lot less when people make fun of you. And that's the embarrassing thing. That's the thing inside I think I worry about. It is that it's embarrassing. And when you accept that, yeah, it is embarrassing. It absolutely is embarrassing to do this. But just laugh along with it, because it's funny. Because if someone else was doing it, you'd also be laughing. Not laughing with the intentions to hurt them. You'd just be laughing because, like I said, you're at the beginning of everything. It's all new and you haven't found everything out. You haven't found everything out about how you want things and who you are and how things are going. And they're new to it. Everyone else is newer to this than I am. So it's almost like people have got to catch up because I've been doing this for a year. And it's almost like everyone else is going through those thoughts that I went through at the start. Oh God, this is embarrassing. Oh God, he's doing this. Oh God, he's doing that. you need to do a video on this, you need to do a video on that. And if I wouldn't if I wasn't used to criticism in life and people around me that do take the piss out of you and do joke, you know, I'd be a lot more sensitive and I wouldn't be able to laugh along with it. And thank God that I can laugh along with it, because it makes it a lot easier. Because I understand it is funny, it is stupid, it is embarrassing to just be filming all your thoughts every day and posting them. It is. But for some reason I enjoy it. And we'll all get, and I'll get used to it, and everyone else gets used to it. And yeah, moral of the story is you're just at the start. And you look back at things you've been doing for ages, and you think at the start, you think, God, how uncomfortable did that feel? How uncomfortable was that? And think of it now, it might just flow for you. It might just feel completely natural. But yeah, anyway, at home now, so peace.